This is the Hollywood Outsider, a weekly movie and TV podcast, the new episode every Thursday, and this week we are discussing upcoming releases including Labor Day, Best Night Ever, and That Awkward Moment. We're not going to actually review anything this week. Sorry. Our From the Outside In topic this week, we've actually got a few of them. We're going to handle iconic roles, building a perfect TV show. That's actually going to be pretty fun, I think. And even a little nod to Brunk Dryan. Yeah, I said that right. Brunk Dryan.
Brunk Dryan.
I mean Drunk Brian.
Oh my God.
See what I did there? Latest in movie and TV news, including our own trivia segments. My name is Aaron Peterson. With me today, I'm my fellow host, Scotty Clark.
Hey, long time no see, man.
Yeah, what's up? Justin McCumber.
I love you.
I heart you. And Brian Williams.
Otherwise known as Brunk Dryan.
You got to find a way to do that and do it intoxicated. Brunk Dryan. We are recording this episode early, so that's why you're not going to hear any news. You're going to hear the new releases and stuff that's coming up.
And why are we doing this early, asshat?
Because
you got a job.
Schedule conflicts have precluded me.
All right, let's set the record straight. And by, scheduled conflicts and blah, 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 blah.
Which, thank you, because I couldn't say it, apparently.
You mean a week-long party boondoggle with work.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm sorry, that work is paying for.
Yeah, pretty much.
In Florida.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
All right, I just, look, we consider all of our listeners family.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to make sure all of our family knows how much of a fuckstick you are.
I'll be busy. How's that? I will be very, very busy. It's actually the hardest I work all year long. It's very, very, believe it or not, I wish it was a party, but it's not. It's warm.
I haven't heard fuckstick in forever.
Oh, do you remember, what was that, Way of the Gun?
Fuck
starter head. Okay.
Oh, God, one of the best opening scenes.
It was.
Do you guys hate January movies yet? I wanted to ask that legitimately because I do. January movie releases are the equivalent of like picking up a girl at the bar, having a little fun, doing a little bang bang, and then her asking for American Express cards. Because this month sucked for movie releases.
Did you just call it bang bang?
Bang bang. That's what I call the doing it.
Mm-hmm. The doing it.
And two people make it.
Doing it.
And two people make up the love. You gotta have a the in there. It makes it sound a little bit more romantic. That's what.
It makes it more romantic?
Yep. That's what I used to tell them.
Honey, we're gonna go have the dinner.
And then the bang bang.
Then the bang bang.
See?
I said a bang, bang, a bangity bang.
No, seriously, but January. Do you guys hate January releases? I mean, is this like the worst month of the year for movies or what?
That's a nice break.
You see it as a break? You're nice to take a little time off for our movie podcast from seeing any movies?
Now I can concentrate on my TV that I've been backlogging.
That's actually a good point.
That's true. That is a good time to catch up. Well, we're going to do this episode a little different because of that, because of my vacation that I'm not getting.
Your paycation.
Yeah.
Waka, waka, waka.
All right, we're going to break it into a few topics because we've all had some stuff we want to talk about, except for Brian, which we'll get to. But we'll start with Scott first. He wanted to discuss iconic characters. We've kind of touched on it in the past, but what characters could you, if not ever, have a really hard time seeing another actor play? Scotty, it was your topic. You go first.
Well, the first one that came to mind when I thought about this was Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. I think that...
Iron Man or Tony Stark? Because I could see anybody playing Iron Man.
Well, okay, Tony Stark. Jesus Christ. I don't think I could ever... Robert Downey Jr. seems made for that role. I cannot imagine anybody else playing him, so that one for sure. I think Johnny Depp is Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh, good pick. I didn't even think of that.
Seriously, there's nobody that can pull that role off again. I mean, they either try too hard to make it all quirky and everything like that, or just would be a completely different character.
Ironically, Robert Downey Jr. in the 90s probably could have. He pretty much was Captain Jack Sparrow.
Pretty much anything played by Christoph Waltz. I'm thinking of Inglourious Bastards and Django Unchained, both of those roles.
Do you really think he's that good to where it can't be done? Repeated?
I don't want to see it done with anybody else. He's like at another level in those two movies to me. Just somebody that is either so evil yet entertaining to watch and likable at the same time, or somebody that's just you just want to be buds with. Django Unchained, he just seemed like a nice guy that had such a weird air about him. I don't want to see this played by anybody else.
Now, hang on before you go. Brian, Justin, you guys are big Christoph Waltz fans. Do you agree with that? Do you think he's one of those guys?
I don't know if he's irreplaceable, but there is a very, very, very small amount of people that could pull off that type of calm, that calm, sinister, charming, a little bit of dash of funny. That's difficult, and there's nobody that's coming to mind right now that could replace him. But I would have to agree with Scott. But I'd have to agree with Scott.
The roles aren't nearly as iconic as something like Tony Stark or Captain Jack Sparrow, but there's just a certain way that he delivered those that I don't see anybody else pulling off. And I got one more before I'll pass it out to somebody else, and it's a comedy. Laugh all you want. Will Ferrell as Elf. Nobody can ever do that again.
Wow, that's okay.
I'm
thinking. I'm trying to think of anybody else I could throw in those giant shoes, and I can't think of it. Yeah,
what
right.
40-year-old guy can play a kid that well?
Touche, man. Tim Allen. Just kidding.
John Travolta in Grease.
Ooh, God. Man, you managed to creep me out. What about you, Justin? What about who could you not see replaceable?
The only actor and role that really comes to mind is Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Hugh Jackman's physiology is really different from the comic books version of Wolverine, cinematically, I don't think there's anybody that could play that part and me be okay with them doing it. Hugh Jackman just took his role and made it so much his own, and there are little things he does that I don't think another actor would even think to do in that role, whether it's the raised eyebrows, the growls, or what have you. I think he's really just irreplaceable, and I don't know if anybody else could do it. But one actor that kind of rose to mind when you guys were talking about Christoph Waltz, one actor that I do think could maybe have played those roles is somebody that I also thought would be irreplaceable, but that's Agent Smith. Hugo Weaving, I think, does a pretty good German accent, and I think he does charming and menacing pretty well too. I mean, he was really, really menacing as Agent Smith, but there have been other movies that he's been in where he's been really, really charming. I mean, there's the gulf between, I can't believe I don't remember his name, but the Elven King and the Lord of the Rings movies, and then Agent Smith. That's a huge gulf, and he was able to do it really well. He's one of those actors that I think could step in, but there's very few actors and roles that I couldn't see them being irreplaceable. Jackman being one of the few.
Hell, even Patrick Stewart is as Xavier.
No, see, I can even see some other people doing that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now,
I know another
Ian McKellen
bald
as
guy
Gandalf.
could do it.
That's a hard fucking act to follow up, but I don't know about Stewart.
Are you trying to say that Ian McKellen is a better actor than Patrick Stewart? Is that what you're saying?
I think he's a better actor, but I think that his playing Gandalf has tied the actor and role more tightly than I think Stewart has with Xavier. Because Xavier's defining characteristic, bald. That's really about it.
That's why I want Brian Williams to play him. Speaking of Brian, what about you?
Well, I personally think just about anybody. Well, I don't want to say anybody, but I personally think that Charles Xavier could have been played with other people also. I don't think that Patrick Stewart is necessarily the only guy to play Charles Xavier. But, hey, I do love the guys with a bald head because that's pretty much what I got. I got actually a list. Captain Jack Sparrow was one of my guys on my list as far as not really seeing anybody else being able to play him.
You both thought of it?
Yeah.
I'm ashamed. I never even crossed my mind.
But I've got a few others. And two of them involve our good friend. Actually, whatever, not really, but Harrison Ford.
Okay.
Both Han Solo and Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I just
That's
think
a clap, by the way. I'm just differentiating. It's a clap.
Is that a clap or sarcasm?
That's both. Both a clap.
Okay.
It's a clap of it's just a clap.
Good deal. To me, I think Harrison Ford is. If I was to actually to meet the actual Harrison Ford, I believe that's who I would see. I would actually meet Han Solo and Indiana Jones wrapped up in one. But Ripley from Alien, I don't see. Really, I mean, what would you recast Ripley as? Another woman? A man?
Gina Carano?
No.
No.
That was obviously a fucking joke.
It wasn't obviously because I'm sitting here going,
No.
oh, did he mean it? Did he mean it?
For me, it was obvious.
Because I could feel the eye rolls from both of us here. So, Tyler Durden,
Oh.
Brad
Fight
Pitt,
Club. Yeah.
Tyler
there you go.
Durden, just off his fucking rocker nuts. My last one, Jules Winfield, Samuel L. Jackson, Pulp Fiction.
That's a good pick.
I don't know who would you can you guys think of anybody that you would recast him as or with?
No.
No.
Nope.
I mean, even if you remade it 20 years from now, you would probably just say, look, I know you're about 94,
We're going to CG you.
but we want you to just say a few extra lines. We'll take the rest of it from there with CGI.
We can make
Just
this
give me
happen.
motherfucker about 4 different ways, and then we're good.
Exactly.
Are you saying that I didn't steal Hugh Jackman from you after all the Hugh Jackman ball licking you guys did in that
No,
best of
look, I'm
13?
look, I'm the biggest Hugh Jackman ball licker there is, at least on the last few episodes. So, no, you took it. It's all yours.
I had him on my list, if that makes you feel any better. I did. Indiana Jones was first, so basically all of the best ones have been taken. But Riddick, I think Vin Diesel is Riddick. I don't know how you redo that with anybody else because he created that character. John McClane, I still think Bruce Willis is John McClane, even though he was a shitty John McClane in the last movie. Rocky Balboa,
Yeah.
seriously, Rocky Balboa is Sylvester Stallone. If they try to recreate that, I don't even know if I'd go watch it. And I still say Eric Draven from AKA The Crow. I think it should be off limits. When the dude dies for the role, I think that makes you immortal.
That gives you permanent ownership.
I totally agree. And not just like died during the filming, like or after the filming or something like that. He died to make the movie. Let the guy have it. It's his.
Like while filming. If the cameras are rolling and you die,
Yours.
hey, look, all bets are off. It's all yours.
It's absolutely yours. And also Samuel L. Jackson in any Tarantino movie. Just as far as I'm concerned, every single kind of like
Who
you
was
feel
that N-word up on that nag?
exactly every part he played in a Tarantino movie, just like Christoph Waltz, could not be played by somebody else, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm aware of. You can put Chris Tucker in that shit? I don't think so.
Oh, man. You shut up.
Say what one more time.
Craig. So some follow-up questions. And this is making it a little bit either more fun or taxing because Scott doesn't like when anything gets heightened. But does gender, race, style, anything else come into play when you think about recasting certain characters? Like we had the infamous Spider-Man can't be gay debate way back when. Are there any other characters that are important for you that they remain however they are because it matters to the character?
That's a really hard one. Back when we had the whole Spider-Man debate, I said it was perfectly fine that the character be gay because the character of Spider-Man's intrinsic nature had nothing to do with hetero homosexuality. It was more about him just as a young man with these powers and, kind of being an underdog in all these fights with these big overpowering villains and yet always coming out on top. There are very few characters really that their race or gender is that important to the role. I mean, 12 Years a Slave. You're not going to get someone that's not African American to play the role that Ejiofor played. Granted, he's not American; he was British, but you get my meaning. His skin color, his nationality, where he came from, is intrinsic to that role. You can't, you're not going to slap blackface on somebody and it just be the same. It's not. It's insulting to that character. So for me, it's very rarely a case. I mean, it's like some people have said that the next James Bond should be someone like
Idris Elba.
Yes, fucking thank you. Idris Elba could play the next James Bond. Of course, a lot of people jump up and decry that because he's a black man, and James Bond has from the very beginning been a white character. And of course he's been a white character, given who wrote it at the time that it was written. But in today's world, his skin color has nothing to do with who James Bond is. It's strictly a matter of his skills and abilities. And Idris Elba, personally, I think would probably make a fantastic James Bond, and I would love to see that role kind of broadened out. And not to bring in TV too much, but a lot of people keep talking about how the Doctor should not keep coming back as a white guy. Why not make it a white woman? Why not make it a black guy? For 12 iterations or whatever, it's always been the same type of character. I kind of agree with them. I think they should broaden things out, but within the story, they should give a reason why suddenly we're changing who he regenerates as. But there's very few instances, and I really can't think of too many off the top of my head, where changing gender or race is going to completely ruin that character unless it is intrinsic to that character.
I don't have any specific examples that I can say are important or whatever, but for me, I don't really care too much as long as it's not done just for the sake of being different or trying to stir up controversy or trying to make some kind of statement about something. I hold some properties very close to my heart, and you stray from that, and it bugs me a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it's not going to keep me from watching that film or TV show or something like that. It's not that big a deal. I don't like politics mixed in with my entertainment. And that goes on any level of entertainment. Mm-hmm. To me, it's like people try to stick things in there just to rile other people up, and that bothers me. If it's just for the sheer sake of riling other people up, don't do it. If it makes the story more interesting, that's fine.
Well, let me ask you this though, and I'm sorry to butt in, but I think this also has come up before, and I do disagree to an extent. I think sometimes some people need to be riled up. But let's say you've got a male character or characters that have been male for many iterations of a movie. Let's say John McClane, since he already came up. Mm-hmm. What if for some reason someone decided that they felt like women needed more action role models? And so they decided that one way to not only give them that character, but to also raise awareness of the almost complete lack of women in action movies, they decided to take an iconic role like John McClane and reboot it with the roles reversed, where it was the woman who was a cop and was out there to save her husband. I could understand why people would not like that, and I could just see Aaron's probably making out signs right now. Mm-hmm. Yep. But for me, I can respect someone wanting to raise awareness of an issue, and women not being represented in a lot of these types of movies, I think sends a message to girls that they're not capable or they're not wanted in these kinds of movies. And so I'm kind of okay with raising a little bit of a stink in order to raise awareness. So I've talked way too much. I'll back up.
I'm okay with raising the stink. Just don't do it in my fun time. Mm-hmm. But my movies, my music, my video games are for fun, not for politics.
I Totally agree with Scott on this one. Blade would be an odd choice to turn into a tiny Asian just to appease the Asian audience. It's just, it doesn't belong.
Depends on do you make Donnie Yen into Blade? I fucking see that movie.
Here's the thing. Seriously, just like I believe Blade should be played by a black guy, I believe Superman and more established characters should adhere to their history. It isn't so much that I care. I'm perfectly fine with a black Bond or an Asian Superman or a Spanish Batman. I really don't care. But they have established history. So the only other reason to change them would be to appease a group or to gain, what Scott said, is bring politics into it. That doesn't belong there. I think if you want that, create your own property, create something different, create something new. That is whatever the archetype is that you're trying to build. But to do that with an established character that's been drawn a certain way for 50 years or has an established history for whatever the reasons are, whatever the case is, whether sexual orientation, gender, whatever the case is, all that's doing is for political reasons. That's a wrong reason to change the story, period. My opinion, I completely agree with Scott. I get where you're coming from, Justin. I just think it does not belong. I would be completely offended if they did that to John McClane because they would be doing it purely for political reasons, and that's a wrong reason to do it. It's entertainment. And if it's a political movie, sure, but it's not. It's John McClane. It deserves to just keep the character the way it is. Create a different one. Take his daughter. His daughter could go off and have her own franchise if you want to do that. There's no reason to do it other than to appease a group. And that's just, it's cowardly in my opinion to do that. I just don't. I think it's fundamentally wrong. All right, well, let's move on. Normally we kind of jump straight to heroes whenever we talk about this kind of thing. But what about villains? Are there any villains that you think just simply could not be done any better?
Yeah, I mean, you got your kind of iconic guys like Darth Vader.
Fucking asshole.
That's just whatever. That's the low hanging fruit, so to speak. But I kind of went a little higher up the tree with with Kevin Spacey as Kaiser Soze. He just did a fantastic blend of that vulnerable, weak guy that you just. It's just the classic. Here's this guy that's just not. He's in front of you the whole time, but he's really not the guy you need to be focused on. It's this other one over here. Look over here. Look over here. Look over here. Oh, by the way, here you go. This is really the villain here. So another one, Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson in The Shining. I know you guys don't like this Shining. I know it doesn't. It's not the book. I get that, but from the movie, just the movie itself, I can't think of anybody else that would have done that craziness. Even to this day, you look at Jack Nicholson at a freaking Lakers game, and he looks just as fucking nutty as he does in that movie.
I just like how Brian made sure to head us off before.
I know he did. I actually wasn't going to complain. It's a fine film, not the book, but it's a fine film.
Right. I just look.
Pulling the Scott there.
Yeah.
I mean, don't cut my nuts off before I put them in your face. All right.
Whoa.
Yeah, silly me.
That's...
yeah. I mean, that's really the first ones that come to mind. I don't know what you got, Aaron.
I had Darth Vader, Dick. I sincerely, you can't top James Earl Jones' voice as far as I'm concerned. If they were remake Star Wars in 50 years and they don't use James Earl Jones, that's going to flop. I'm predicting it now.
But what about Prowse as the physical embodiment?
I don't think really there was enough with Darth Vader's
He wasn't as
physical.
iconic.
Yeah, I mean, he
I don't know. I mean,
he
you
held his
think
arm
about-
up a little bit, and that's pretty much it.
You think about some of the moves that are just so familiar to us, whether it's, in Empire Strikes Back when he's reaching out to Luke,
just like
with his
Jack.
hand. There's a lot of little things that he does that are very operatic that I thought worked so well with those movies that I don't know if a more subtle or nuanced approach would be as entertaining. I think it's a great combination.
It was black. He had to make certain gestures just so you could see him making the gesture.
I think it's a unique instance where two different performers contribute to a character, and together they made an amazing character.
I wish I could agree with you on that one. I don't remember anything significant to his physical performance. It was all his voice, in my opinion.
When he's reaching out and forget it.
I
I'm
can
not gonna
hold my
change your
hand
mind.
out. Look at that. Ooh, I'm an actor.
No, you suck. I can tell from here without even seeing you. You're fucking that up.
I think
He probably is.
I actually think the Joker lends himself to reimagining, so I'm not putting Heath Ledger on this list. I think
I wanted to, but I had to take him off my list too.
yeah, there's several different ways you can approach that character. John Doe in Seven, though.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey. I don't know how you can top that.
When
I
he
don't-
shouts detective from across the police station.
Yeah, detective. It's just he's too good. He's too good an actor in general, but in that particular role, just holy crap.
It's getting closer now. Oh, that movie's so creepy.
Oh, so good. Justin, I know you're dying.
No, not really. I mean, Darth Vader was, of course, the first one. That
Wait, David Prowse or James Earl Jones?
I think them both coming together made a fantastic Darth Vader.
Okay.
So you can suck my nut as much as you like.
Again with a nut analogy.
There's actually
Well, I'm all about my balls right now.
there's actually a third guy that played his role too. The guy that actually walked around wasn't David Prowse.
Who played the brain in Empire Strikes Back? That's what I want to know. Who played the head?
That was Sebastian Shaw.
Who played the brain in Waiting?
Sorry, Justin, continue because that just grossed me out.
And this is the goat. This is the bat.
The
wing.
bat
The
wing.
Batwing.
It's so angry.
Oh Lord.
It's so. I already mentioned Agent Smith with Hugo Weaving. I loved what he brought to that. It is so hard to think of not hard to think of iconic villains, but ones that just could not be done any better. Yeah, I loved Max von Sydow's Ming the Merciless in Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
I do love the Joker as Heath Ledger did him. Yeah, there are a lot of different ways that you could take the Joker. And we've seen lots of different versions across the comic books and the movies and the TV shows and cartoons. But for that universe, no other approach to the Joker would have worked. You could bring in all the Jack Nicholsons or Mark Hamill voices, and that just would not have been an appropriate Joker for that type of universe. If they're ever going to try a more zany or maniacal kind of Joker, they're going to have to go in a universe that supports that kind of character. But really, there aren't that many villains that I could think of that are as iconic with the actor playing them.
Am I really the only one that thought of Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs?
I'm not a fan of the movie, so I didn't think of
Wait,
it.
No, I thought about him, but he was also played by,
Brian Cox.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's fair.
I
just
think
just by default, he has been played by somebody else. So
I think I agree with you that Anthony Hopkins is the definitive Hannibal Lecter, but I think it can be played by somebody else.
Really?
Yeah, he has been. If you saw Manhunter, I thought Brian Cox did a different take, but a really good take on the character.
I actually had another one too. Is a relatively newer movie, but Donald Sutherland as President Snow in the Hunger Games movies is pretty much exactly what I pictured him as when I read the books. And I can't picture somebody else playing that.
Brian's doing a slither.
Okay,
He's a snake. Get it?
got it.
no, I was snoring.
I thought he was snoring. Yeah.
I was going.
you're
Yes, thank
snoring?
you once again. Justin gets me. You other guys, you just don't get me.
Well, then you went from being really cool to being a dick. Let Scott finish.
No, that's it. There's something about the way Donald Sutherland carries himself as this cool and collected asshole that just.
Why are you guys mocking him?
Hey, Justin, pass the popcorn, will you?
All right.
You continue, sir.
No, I'm done.
Scotty, don't take offense. That was more towards
Look, hey,
Aaron.
look, I warned you earlier. It's downhill from here.
Please finish your thought.
No, that was literally it.
Son of a bitch. David
Actually,
Prowse is a pussy.
Aaron's like, you fucking assholes. You just made him stop.
All right. Well, watch recent trailers at thehollywoodoutsider.com. You're all assholes. Apologize to Scott right now. Right now.
Scott, Justin, sorry.
If you have a thought or a topic idea, tweet us at H_outsider. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Hollywood Outsider. Leave us a message. Text us at 818-81-AMAHO. It's 818-814-6246. And email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. All right, well, moving on. I know I said that we didn't have any reviews, but I actually did see Ride Along. That's a new Ice Cube and Kevin Hart movie where Ice Cube plays tough cop, because that's what Ice Cube plays, either a criminal or a tough cop, named James Payton. He's a loner. He's always on his own, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Kevin Hart, who is coming into his own, I mean, the guy's he's basically become the Eddie Murphy, Chris Tucker, superstar, quick-talking comedian of his generation. He plays Ben Barber, who's basically just a school security guard trying to be a cop, who finally gets into the academy and is dating James Payton's sister, Angela. Turns out Angela wants Ben to get James' blessing in order for them to get married, so, of course, he goes to James and says, "Hey, James, what about it? Can I get your blessing?" And James says, "Hey, you want to be a cop? Let's take you on a little ride-along," and basically tortures him for an entire day. Meanwhile, he's also working on this case about an elusive gangster he's been chasing for a long time named Omar with his cop buddies, including one of them played by John Leguizamo. You already know what kind of movie you're getting. It's directed by Tim Story. He's actually not a bad director. He did Barbershop, Think Like a Man, the Fantastic Four movies. Yeah, those Fantastic Four movies. But he's not bad. He shoots action well. The comedy in the movie is about what you'd expect. There's nothing fantastic about it, but they do make a good partnership. I actually thought the movie was pretty entertaining, but it is as generic and basic as you could get. You know what you're getting, but you get what you want. Kevin Hart is a little bit more restrained. He's not quite as over the top. I think everybody thinks because of the trailers, that's all he's going to do is do that high-pitched squealing through the whole movie, and he actually doesn't do that. There's a lot of quiet moments where he's trying to act. I actually thought he did a good job. Ice Cube pretty much played Ice Cube. He didn't really do anything different here, but he was pretty good. So I would say Ride Along is one of those movies where if you want a nice, fun night at the movies where you just laugh a little bit, get a little action, but don't get anything deep or don't get anything too creative, Ride Along is a movie for you. If $10 is the full price of admission, I'd give it $6. And we're going to move on to Brian's topic. And since Brian couldn't be bothered to send a topic in, we picked one for him. In honor of Drunk Brian, or Brunk Brian, we're going to ask this question. You ready? You going to ponder this? Brian, you get to answer first. Who are your favorite drunk on-screen characters or moments in TV or film?
That's a good question. And I'm highly honored that it's my topic that I didn't even pick, and I still get to go first.
Yep.
All right, I got a couple here. One is my probably my favorite movie by Guy Ritchie, and that's Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels. And that is the drunk scene where they're celebrating. The four guys they're celebrating, they're having a good time, and it's this fantastic mix of stuff that's just like this super fast speed up time, and then all of a sudden it's like the slow-mo cam. Almost bullet time type of, motion capture, and they're doing all this crazy shit. And it's just that stuff that I guess you can associate with because you've done all this. You've lit somebody's ass on fire. There's been that guy that's like, trust me, I can do the backflip, and all this just crazy shit that just happens. And of course it all culminates with everybody just passed out with somebody sleeping on a piano. It's just everybody's just give me some Alka-Seltzer, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just a fantastic. It just really encapsulates a whole night of drinking in about 30 or 45 seconds. And one more on top of that is E.T.
I thought of that one.
An alien and a little kid just getting shit-faced just cracks me up. Just saying. And E.T. is just one of those movies. It is a classic movie. It's just fantastic. It's heartwarming. I can remember being, 9 or 10 years old, and just crying my eyes out because it was such a sweet movie. But nobody ever remembers the fact that a little kid and an alien were just getting shit-faced together. So, I don't know what you got.
Good pick. Yeah. Scotty?
First one I got is Frank the Tank from Old School.
Oh, good pick, man.
There's something about we're going streaking. Grab your green hat. Let's go. You
love the Pharaoh, don't you?
Oh, Not in everything, but Old School and Elf. Holy cow, so funny. It's a television show, old one, but I thought Bob Newhart played a good drunk guy. If you ever watched the Bob Newhart show.
Oh, the old one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was a great drunk. He was just so happy and just a sweet old man that was just, that was drunk as hell. But I loved watching him.
Is that who you aspire to be when you go to parties?
Yes.
You're like, I want to be Newhart.
I want to be Newhart. And the last one I had was Adam Sandler in The Wedding Singer when he gets drunk and at a wedding and sings "Love Stinks."
That's such a good song.
It's such a great song for that scene. Sir, one more outburst like that, and I will strangle you with my microphone cable. It's so funny. Like, the whole idea of him going around, like, making fun of table number 9 because they're pretty sideburns lady and what? Oh, so funny.
It's back when Sandler was a riot, too.
Yeah. Oh, that's one of my favorites, too. It's a great movie.
Good pick. Justin?
Well, the first one that really popped into mind, and it's really, I don't know if I call him an angry drunk, but he's certainly a bitter drunk. But there's a scene in Casablanca where Rick Blaine is drunk because Ilsa's come back into his life, and he starts yelling at Sam, you played it for her, now play it for me. Mm-hmm. So that one kind of jumped to mind. But, in a more humorous vein, Anthony Michael Hall, Weird Science, getting drunk in that bar with those black guys.
Truth, baby.
You check them big titties. Oh my God! On the telephone?
Oh,
What's he mean on the telephone?
And another really funny drunk. This one's a woman, but if you guys remember in 16 Candles, the character of Caroline Mulford, who was the hot blonde girlfriend of Jake, gets drunk and ends up getting, her hair caught in the door and her friends chop it off. And then, of course, she does end up having sex with Anthony Michael Hall in a car. But just the way she was acting when she was drunk and just being all over Anthony Michael Hall's character was really hysterical. And then there's the entirety of The Hangover.
Oh, yeah. I want to mention the movie and see if you guys know what I'm talking about. Euro Trip.
Oh, the brother and sister.
The brother and sister.
Making out.
Making
Worst
out?
twins ever.
That's one of my
Is
favorites.
this when they were on the absinthe?
Yes.
Yeah.
You made out with your sister, man.
One of my favorite scenes ever in a comedy, man. Oh, God, that was so funny.
I know. Michelle Trachtenberg with my sister. I'd probably be making out with her, too.
It's so sad.
Just saying she's cute.
One of my favorite movies from the 80s is Bruce Willis in Blind Date. And it's really old.
Oh, God, that's funny.
It's back when he was funny and he tried pretty hard. But he gets so mad at Kim Basinger ruining his night that he gets completely bombed and ends up in jail with Doritos all over his face and shit.
Back in the moonlighting days.
Back in the moonlighting days. And when the movie, he's pretty low key, Bruce Willis, for most of the movie. But there's, what is that, Justin, like 15 minutes or so where he just gets wasted. Mm-hmm. And he just becomes David Addison. And it is so funny. And he just does everything possible to completely destroy this woman's reputation in a matter of minutes. I loved it. Another one, and I couldn't remember if he was actually drunk or just pretending to be drunk, but I think it counts. I'm really shocked that Dane Cook's going to come up. But Dane Cook and My Best Friend's Girl, when he's drunk and yells at the bride's mom, "Hey, Mom, this thing's not going to suck itself."
Return the favor.
Oh, God. I was in tears. And, of course, Ed Helms screwing the tranny. That's up there pretty high.
Oh.
Stu has semen in him. That's true.
Oh.
God. Those movies
My wife
so
almost
fun.
walked out of that movie at that point.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was my favorite. My favorite bit wasn't even in the first movie. It was that part. I just thought that was so... Wow, you went there? Follow-up. What about... We've had all those nights of debauchery. What movie for you guys perfectly captured the... And I'm serious. What movie for you captured that? Oh, that's really how it usually goes in the world of party movies.
I wanted to pick Superbad at first, but then I remember that movie ended up with two best friends sleeping on the floor next to each other instead of a girl. So I was like, no, that's...
What sounds more like...
That sounds more like me, but yeah. So, no, but for me, the movies that, like, as far as parties go... There's something about the American Pie movies, even the crappy ones.
You son of a bitch. Get out of my head.
Even the crappy like American Wedding one, there's something about that group of characters. I was in the right age when those movies came out. What did he say?
He said I can't repeat it. Go ahead.
Oh, he stuck a flute somewhere? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
There's something about those party scenes that just make you feel like that. This is what a party is supposed to be like. Mm-hmm. You know, they just look fun. They look like they bring back good memories. I like the American Pie movies. Even the latest one. I've said it when we reviewed it. I really like that movie, and it felt like a good return to form.
American Reunion.
Yeah.
Blech.
What about you, Justin, since he stole your best picks?
Well, yeah, he stole it. I mean, American Pie, it's silly. It's really funny. Nobody gets shot. Brian wasn't there. Nobody gets, it's just a fun kind of safe party. And, I already mentioned the movie, but 16 Candles, the party at Jake's house. Again, nobody gets killed. It's fun. You got, big girl upstairs on the cycle, that power cycle, while Long Duck Dong is kind of sitting on it with her. It's funny, silly, and for me, that's kind of how I've always wanted my parties to go.
What about you, Brian?
Oh man, I'm surprised nobody said this one, but Dazed and Confused.
Oh, that's a really good one.
I was going to bring that up with Rory and the whole back of a dollar bill, but he was more high, so I wasn't sure.
I wasn't a stoner, but just the whole general concept where you start out the evening doing something. It may be like a baseball game, it may be some sort of other activity that you got going on. And then you just kind of meet up with your friends at some little hangout spot, whatever, like the pool hall or doing some other crazy shit. And then it just evolves that, by 11 o'clock or midnight, you're at somebody's house who's, their parents are out of town. You're having some party, whatever the case is. And
getting your third wind.
Getting your third wind. That's right. Just LIVIN. And it's just one of those things that all of a sudden the whole night is gone and you're watching the sunrise and answering questions to some adult that that you didn't plan on meeting when the night started. So, that's Dazed and Confused, man.
Well, I've got two. One was closer to my youth. That's House Party with Kid and Play. I don't know if you guys ever saw that.
Oh, you had the big high top fade?
No. All the parties I went were just like those house parties.
You never get lost. They just follow the drip to drip.
I love that movie, and it was so close to everything I grew up with. And also Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks. I was actually at a party, minus the car driving through the freaking movie theater window. I was at a party that went just as crazy. Had prostitutes.
You had a donkey die from ODing on coke?
Didn't have that part. All right. But it was so... It's almost like they were modeling it after the movie. It was messed up. It was one that I was having too much fun, but I wanted to leave. Because I was afraid cops were coming at any minute.
Because shit's going to break off.
Yeah, something's going to fall off, or I'm going to get injured, or an STD. Whatever happens, I don't want to be here for it.
I need to go see that again.
Oh, God.
It's been a long time.
It's a great movie.
It's been a long time, been a long time, been a long time.
It's been a while.
Oh, shut up. Don't get me started. All right, folks, we got 3 movies we're going to be discussing tonight. They're all opening on January 31st. The first one, Labor Day. Strangely enough, not opening on Labor Day.
How fucking weird is that? Seriously.
Right.
Kind of weird. Now, this one's a drama written and directed by Jason Reitman, which immediately puts it a couple levels up from other movies. Depressed single mom Adele, played by Kate Winslet, and her son Henry offer a wounded, fearsome man a ride. He's played by Josh Brolin. As police search town for the escaped convict, the mother and son gradually learn his true story as their options become increasingly limited. Brian, I know you had this exact same thing happen to you, and that's exactly kind of how you and Molly met, minus the child. What do you think? Do you want to go to the theater and see Labor Day not on Labor Day?
Let me see. Hell no. I'm about sick and tired of holiday named movies. Labor Day, Valentine's Day, freaking
New Year's Eve,
New Year's Eve,
Christmas Story.
Christmas Story,
Christmas. Oh, absolutely. The worst one.
Halloween.
You shoot your eye out.
No, man, it's just not in my wheelhouse.
If they make a movie called Labor Day and release it in January, I don't think I don't think you can get a sign any clearer that says this movie sucks.
Why not name it Flag Day?
Flag Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day's
Yeah, Martin
coming
Luther
up.
King Jr. Day or Pulaski's Day or whatever that guy's name is.
It's literally like this week.
I can't imagine the day's going to matter based on what the plot was. It doesn't seem like it's...
You guys don't seem to be realizing the true beauty here. Jason Reitman, that dude has done some pretty damn good films.
Well, I was just going to say I'm actually intrigued by this movie. I think it's a somewhat original idea. I mean, we've had the whole, hold somebody hostage kind of thing, but this is a little bit different spin on it. It's got kind of an emotional attachment to it. I do want to see it, especially because when they show who was involved in this movie, a lot of people that were Up in the Air. Is that the same director, Justin?
Yep. Up in the Air, Juno, Thank You for Smoking.
Up in the Air was great. Thank You for Smoking was great. Though, I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to see it.
It is literally the same plot as Jean-Claude Van Damme's Nowhere to Run.
Okay.
Minus the mullet.
I don't think he had a mullet in that one.
Oh.
But it's the same plot.
Yeah, but that one had Jean-Claude Van Damme in it.
That's actually a negative for me. Because if it had Van Damme, I would be there opening day. I'd be like, is this Nowhere to Run 2? I'm there.
Is that 2
Nowhere to Run
also
further?
Or number 2?
Nowhere to jog.
Do what, Scotty?
What?
Oh,
I thought you asked a question.
No.
Oh, no. I was trying to make a joke on a play on words, and it didn't work.
All right. Now, well, appropriately, that awkward moment. Written and directed by Tom Gormican, 3 best friends find themselves where we've all been. I quite haven't, but you know what? At that confusing moment in every dating relationship when you have to decide, so where is this going? I was kind of told where it was going. This was stars Zac Efron, Michael B. Jordan, and Miles Teller. Scotty, this film kind of looks a bit up your alley. It's got a younger cast. It's a comedy, romance. It seems to have the things you love, Zac Efron. So, what do you think? Are you ready to go have that awkward moment?
I've never seen a Zac Efron movie.
Really?
I don't know if I get this tagline that I automatically like Zac Efron because he was in High School Musical or whatever. I don't know.
So this will pop your cherry?
It would. Zac Efron, though, I mean, I obviously have seen a lot of trailers with him in it. He looks like one of those actors that has the potential to be a superstar. He's a good-looking guy, and he's got some acting chops.
What you just said right there is exactly why people think of you when they think of Zac Efron. They're like, well, he's a really good-looking guy, and he's got
That's not how he said it, Aaron, you homophobe.
But this seems like one of those movies that is a stepping stone to get towards something greater, to me. It looks funny. It has some. The trailer especially had some interesting ways to make you laugh, but it's nothing that I want to go see in the theater.
As soon as I saw the joke where he's laying in bed with the girl and, she says, I wasn't going to sleep with you on the first date. And he said, no, I wasn't either. Then I realized I'm a dude. And then and then the Red Band trailer where he shows up to a costume party, but it's actually a dress party and he shows up with Rock Out With My Cock Out.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, God. I want to see this movie. It looks hysterical.
Is that why it's called that awkward moment?
I don't know, but I like to see a romantic comedy told from the guy's perspective is what it seems like. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to see it. I actually think it's a different spin on it, and I look forward to it.
Brian, you got any thoughts on this one?
No, I think the only Zac Efron movie is that one coming out with Seth Rogen. I've got a one Zac Efron movie per year quota.
I thought you loved him. You cast him in everything you think of.
No, I cast him in one thing that we had a running joke for. That's why it feels like it was a lot more. That was Top Gun. That was it.
It feels like everything.
So zip it. That was it.
I still agree. We had
www.zipit.com.
Yeah, Dr. Evil. You can't recast Dr. Evil. Forgot him.
There you go. Good villain. All right, guys. Well, I'm sorry, Brian. Continue.
Yeah, that was it. That was basically just reiterating my point. Just one Zac Efron movie per year. That's it.
All right.
And this one ain't it.
This one ain't it.
Well, also ironically titled for tonight, but in a reverse way, Best Night Ever. This film is listed as a comedy, yet one of the production companies overseeing it is was it Blumhouse?
Oh, the micro-budgeted guys?
Micro-budget horror films, but yet this is a comedy. It's written and directed by Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer, starring a bunch of young girls. Never heard of them before. I don't know if we'll ever hear from them again. But it is a found footage movie. But instead of it being horror, it's a comedy about Claire, who is about to get married, and her best girlfriends take her to Las Vegas for a bachelorette party. Things quickly spiral out of control. Yes, it's The Hangover meets Paranormal Activity meets the scary movie comedies. The trailer, I actually had to watch it to see if it was going to work as a film, and oddly enough, it did actually look really funny. It looks like it works really well. The cast, even though I've never seen one of them, they all look like they're playing this pretty well. But Aaron, I know you've probably snuck your way into a bachelor party or two.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for a best night ever?
I've snuck into a few bachelorette parties. The movie itself didn't really catch my eye until I started looking into it, because I thought the same thing. Found footage comedy, really? But the trailer actually looks good. I didn't know it was Blumhouse, though, so that's a plus in my book, because they know how to make those. I want to see, if you're going to do a found footage movie, give me something new. I've seen the horror thing done to death. Mm-hmm. I thought Chronicle was a new concept, and it worked really well. I'm open to it, and I think that could play really well. So I'm actually curious about it.
I think it's so funny watching this trailer, and it's all just hooping and hollering and partying and nothing scary, and then across the screen it says, "From the makers of Paranormal Activity and Insidious."
That part doesn't play at all.
That just seems so stuck in there. Like, oh, the scary movie. What? I don't know. I might be tired of the found footage aspect of it. We had you guys didn't see 21 and Over, did you?
No. You told me it was awful.
It wasn't. It was.
I don't kick
it was
myself
awful.
in the nuts.
Didn't give me much reason to.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but with that, I'm probably there's no way I'm gonna not see it. I mean, it just like you said, it looks funny. It's an old idea, but there's something fresh to it that might work. So.
Were you guys like me, though, when you watch a trailer? Did you keep expecting a ghost to come out or someone to get killed?
Yep.
Yeah.
Blood should have been somewhere, and it never happened. I was like, they're actually honest. This is going to be a comedy.
I kept thinking of Devil's Due, because Devil's Due is the same thing, where you watch. I mean, if you happen to come into that trailer after the initial 5 seconds for the guys in the police station, it seems like a romantic wedding movie for about a minute.
Yep.
And I thought that this is what this was. I'm like,
And
all right,
it's real.
yeah, where's it coming? When do the friends start carving her throat? When does that happen? Nothing.
All I know is that one chick's wearing a freaking dildo tiara. So I don't know how much y'all looked into this, but yeah, I don't know if y'all noticed that. But
It was on fire, wasn't it?
it's something. Yeah, it's that's some pretty funny shit. So
This is the most sexual episode of the Hollywood Outsider ever. We've had dildos, we've had balls,
Lots of balls.
lots of balls. Oh, we're sorry if we lost some people. Sometimes it just has to be said. When you see a woman with a dildo tiara, it has to be said.
Ladies, well, of these three films, Labor Day, That Awkward Moment, Best Night Ever, which one are you guys most likely to head out to a theater to see? Brian?
look, I'm all about some chicks jello wrestling in Vegas with some dildo tiaras. So I'm gonna go with Best Night Ever.
Scotty?
Labor Day.
Aaron?
That Awkward Moment.
I got to go with Scotty, Labor Day. It's got Jason Reitman, and it's got Kate Winslet, and it's got Josh Brolin. Those are three of my favorite movie things in one film that actually looks really well done. I actually look forward to seeing that. So we win, Scotty.
Needs
Apparently.
more Jean-Claude Van Damme. Just saying.
doing squats over trucks.
Just doing the splits like when Kate Winslet gets home. Just think about it. That could be a classic.
She walks in, there's his naked split ass.
Yep.
Oh,
Chuck
God, I
Norris
just
did
made
it
myself
better.
throw up a little bit. Let's move on.
You can listen and subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher Radio app. Give us a thumbs up if you do, or through our RSS feed at the Hollywood.
Because you really want to after that.
Thumbs up through our RSS feed at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. There's a new episode every Thursday, even when I'm busy as hell. So that's how much we love you.
What's this movie?
What's this movie? Each week we play ours or a listener-suggested clip from a movie, and if you think you know what the clip is, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com, and next week we'll give you a proper host shout-out. I want to preface this with, as we said...
I wanna.
Really, really, really want to sig.
Thank you.
Oh, we're going off the rails. As we said earlier, we are recording earlier, so we will give shout-outs for last week and this week's episode on next week's show. So you weren't forgotten, I promise. But this week it is Justin's turn, so here is the clip. So basically, if you get them both right, we're going to say your name twice. So we're going to say Bob. You know what I'm saying? So here is Justin's clip.
Black sheep.
If you think you know...
I was thinking more of Bob Blob Blob.
I was thinking Bob Ryan.
Baba Rain.
All right, play it.
If you think you know what the clip is, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. We're going to be in therapy for the next 30 seconds. Here you go.
All right. I know where the rabbit's foot is. I can help you.
The way you helped me on the airplane? That way?
You put the gun down. I'm not talking to you like this.
That's your choice. 4.
The rabbit's foot's in Paris. You want to know where in Paris? Then let her go. Because you will
It's
never...
not in Paris. 5.
I can get it for you. But you kill her, you do this. You get nothing. Are you listening to me?
All right, now let's go to Justin's topic. Now, Justin, he didn't want to be like everybody else because he always thinks he's a little different, because he is. He wanted to play a little game called Make the Best Damn TV Show Ever.
Hide the salami.
So,
I'm sorry. That's a different
Ryan,
game
that's
he
just
wants to
something you
play.
and I do. We don't need to bring in the rest of the
Exactly.
podcast.
I
No
thought
need
you
to
played
talk.
it with the rest of them. Why am I the... Damn.
Because you're my special.
that's always
Oh,
what they
okay.
say. You're my special one. Don't
Just
tell
checking.
anybody.
And you're the only one who can handle it.
This is
Okay. Like I said, most
You
preferred
can
episode.
edit that out.
Oh, no, it stays. Justin wants to play this game. So here's what it is. We're going to have a premise, a genre, what network you prefer, maybe a couple actors you definitely want in it if you have some, and, of course, a title for your show. So, Justin, just because it's your topic, you go first.
All right. Could have gone a million ways with this, and I wrote down probably a dozen different ideas before I settled on one that I thought would make a good TV show. The premise is that a starship carrying a crew of cryogenically frozen scientists awakens its cargo as it nears a habitable planet. But before the crew can assess the situation, the ship is mysteriously damaged and they're forced to flee and make an emergency landing on the unknown planet below. Now they must work together to survive this strange new land, discover its secrets, and find a way to make it a home.
Is this a premise or a movie pitch?
Their greatest journey awaits, though, when they make the greatest discovery of all. Where they've landed is Earth, but hundreds of years after the fact. It's, of course, genre is science fiction. I would like AMC to handle this. I think they do good work with the shows that they have. They do shorter seasons, which I think would work to this. To me, this has got a little bit of Lost. It's got all sorts of ways that it could go. I actually love the idea. I almost want to take it and write a book around it. But actors that I kind of thought of, I want to give it a really diverse cast. One, I like Zachary Levi quite a bit from Chuck. I would like to see Yoon-Jin Kim, who played Sun on Lost. Of course, I have to bring in Lost. And Chiwetel Ejiofor, bring somebody in who's got a lot of gravitas to him and a lot of authority. He can speak with his native British accent. And I think it would make a nice rounded cast of characters. And the title that I came up for with it is Unearthed.
And I want to encourage the listeners, send us your emails for which one of these pitches is the show you would want to see the most. So I kind of want to not necessarily have a winner, but see what you guys would pick, and then we'll pick a winner.
I have expected to hear something about all on the haywire lines from Justin.
It sounded like
haywire. I avoided my own work. I figured I got to go in with something that I haven't done before. But I could see the whole thing with the first season ends with them discovering that they're on Earth, where they find something, and then what happened to Earth while they were gone? How long have they been gone? Aliens being involved, all sorts of shit you could do 6-7 seasons with.
All right. Well, if you like Justin's pitch, you can email us, feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Scott, what's your pitch?
Well, I'm obviously not as clever as
don't say that. Don't sell yourself short.
Obviously.
Or anybody here, but I was watching an episode of Saturday Night Live recently. I don't watch a whole lot of it. I catch
Dick in a Box, the TV show.
No, not quite. And I came across there was an episode an episode where the hosts were Justin Timberlake and Jimmy Fallon.
Mm-hmm. On down to Lickerville.
And it was the funniest damn thing I had seen on TV in a long time, and it made me realize that I want to see those two in particular.
Okay.
Justin Timberlake and Jimmy Fallon together is something fantastic. You can tell that those two guys are buds, and they play so well off of each other. They're both musically inclined. I want to see a live sketch comedy show on HBO where those two can cut loose, and they're not inhibited by the network, and they can be a little bit more vulgar because those two together are funny, and I want to see them as
that Dick in the Box.
Well, and I was thinking about that because Justin Timberlake has had done some work with the Lonely Island guys, so he could actually have the Lonely Island guys as guests on occasion and actually play their songs unedited instead of having to censor them for the network. I think it would be hilarious to see what those two do. Those two are the hosts. They're there every time. They have rotating guests, not the same cast. It's like they've got guests every time, nothing but guests, not like a regular revolving cast. I'm not clever with titles. So the best I could come up with was J&J After Dark.
I like it, man. I like it.
Very good. Comedy. Nice.
If anybody likes that one, feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. That's Scott's pick. And was it J&J After Dark?
J&J After Dark.
So we've got Unearthed, J&J After Dark. Brian?
All right. I'm sticking with the sci-fi genre myself. But we're going to go with a little colony that's terraforming a planet because, we're just getting a little too populated on this little fucking rock. So they are being terrorized by aliens, and it's done in a Memento style. So it's I guess I don't want to say it'd be a miniseries, but it would one of those things where you would have to set just a predetermined ending. Whether you say, all right, we like this idea, it's going to be one season over the course of a summer, or we're going to do this over 3 seasons. Here's how we're going to do it.
Okay.
But kind of a Memento style where it's a little bit of a kind of flash.
Start at the end and work your way back. Kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of a thing. Let's see here. People I would like involved. Wesley Snipes.
Ooh.
I think he would have a good maybe military bearing type of character. You got to have a tough chick. There's none tougher than Zoe Bell. Sorry, she's the balls. Maybe like some kind of a elder statesman, maybe an ex-military, turned president type guy. Who else? He's not doing a whole lot else right now. Kurt Russell.
Ooh, yeah. I like this now. Now I'm all over it.
Gosh, you got to kind of have a weaselly, sinister type of guy, and I hate to say this because I'm such a huge fan, and he's really done a lot of bad guy stuff, but I really like him, and that's Benedict Cumberbatch. Sorry.
There's a shock.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with Michael Emerson. Oh, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah. Well, you should have known. It's
Nice.
Brian's show. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
It's just going to be just set Benedict Cumberbatch at a desk and put a camera on him and a couple lights and just talk for an hour.
Seriously, Brian's first idea was, I want to do a musical sketch show with Justin Timberlake and Benedict Cumberbatch.
Now, Brian, when you say
Tom
you wanted,
Hiddleston kind of dancing around him.
There you go.
Brian, Brian, when you say you want to do it Memento style, when I think Memento, I think you do like the last 5 minutes of the movie, then the second to last 5 minutes of the movie. Are you thinking of doing that where each episode is that way? Where like the first episode is actually the last episode, and then it ties into the ending of the first one? Or are you talking about doing that, chopping up each individual episode?
Well, you asked that question on the assumption that I really thought this whole concept through. That I actually kind of thought about both of those. I like the idea of setting up the majority of, the finale at the very beginning. You maybe
now, what network would you put it on?
Gosh, see, HBO is the easy answer because you just got more freedom to do that. And that's what I originally thought. But I would say AMC, just because they tend to do dramas. Because I want it to be more of an action drama, and I think they tend to do that a little bit better than say some of the other networks like FX.
I don't know. FX did Breaking Bad and Sons of Anarchy. That's not a bad.
AMC did Breaking Bad.
AMC did Breaking Bad,
right,
but they did do Sons of Anarchy, so you were half right.
Thank you.
So you're not completely
Aaron,
wrong.
what movie do you want to cast Randy Quaid in?
You mean Dennis Quaid? I don't want to
whichever.
go
Randy Quaid.
Well, Brian, were you done, Brian? I'm sorry.
No, because I didn't even name this gem. Infinite Termination.
Ooh.
It's got a Jean-Claude Van Damme type.
It sure
title,
does.
but
That's what I was thinking too.
He needs to be one of the aliens.
maybe he could some. He could be part of some other faction that kind of splintered off that says, we don't like how y'all are doing this, and we're going to run rogue and that kind of stuff. So.
All right. Well, my show would air on AMC. Well, that's Brian's. I'm sorry, and that's what is it? How do you say? What's the title again?
Infinite Termination.
Infinite Termination. J&J After Dark. Unearth. Whichever one you like so far, you can email feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Pick one. So here's my show. All right. It'll air on AMC because I can't work with boundaries, but I don't need to drop the F-bomb and show naked women every 15 seconds. So I don't need HBO.
Why not?
My main character is going to be played by Taylor Kitsch. I really think the guy's got a lot of charisma. Unfortunately, he picked some bad choices. But here's what it's about. It's about a mall security guard named Brad, or B-Rad if you're into hip-hop. I think Brad's a decent guy. He's an underachiever, but he gets passed on yet again for local law enforcement, just like you've seen in movies 100 times. He's alone, he's got no family, and he just hates life. So one night, Brad's at the mall and gets drunk, and he passes out in one of those little mall photo booths. It's a new one that was just delivered. Furiously kicking the machine because he hates his life and everything else, and he just wants to be taken seriously, just once. When Brad wakes up, it's 65 years later in the future, and his mall is one of the few relics of basically a time gone by. I mean, the world's in shambles. It's apparently 5 years after Brad's initial time. War broke out. Nukes and EMPs were dropped. The country just never recovered. They have no computers, electricity, gas, nothing. Due to our completely lazy-ass youth, the adults running the country have no idea what to do. Crime's running rampant, and people are just suffering. So Brad, who was an underachiever in his time, is basically the most knowledgeable guy in the future.
It sounds familiar.
I don't think so. Not really.
It's got a little of idiocracy.
Yeah.
No, fuck that. But he knows how to thwart crime, manage resources, build and repair things. The series follows Brad as he goes through his new time, becoming the hero he always dreamed himself to be, becomes reacquainted with relatives of his deceased friends, as well as he searches for the reasons that basically prompted the time machine to be dropped on his front door to begin with, which essentially was a secret society backdrop. And, they have a reason for choosing Brad, which would unfold over the course of seasons.
Okay.
And my title, Mall of America. That's mine. So whichever one you like the most, whichever one you would actually tune into weekly or whatever, or at least want to check out, email feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Now let's go to DVD and Blu-ray, Scotty.
January 28th, we have got, it looks like 6 releases. The first one is Rush. Aaron wrote a review around episode 112 on that one where he gave it an $8 out of 10. Highly recommended that one. Mm-hmm. The Fifth Estate, this is that movie where Benedict Cumberbatch plays the WikiLeaks guy. I don't think any of us got a chance to see it, which shocks me considering Brian's insatiable love for Cumberbatch.
Yeah, I'm sensing a little sarcasm there, Scott.
Oh, just slightly. Las Vegas, this is the Robert De Niro, Michael Douglas, Morgan Freeman, Kevin Kline is there living it up one last time in Vegas. It's a comedy that not a whole lot of people saw. Metallica Through the Never. This is that we talked about it on the show a little bit. This is that one that's like basically
very cool. I saw that.
Oh, did you see it?
I saw a screener of it. Yeah, it's very cool.
Oh, is
I saw
it?
it a while ago.
I want to check it out.
You saw a screener?
Mm-hmm.
It's
didn't get passed around.
No, it wasn't through here. It was through somebody I know.
It's basically.
I saw it at their house.
Sounds shady to me, Jay.
Sure does.
Sounds shady as shit.
It's from what I can gather, it basically looks like a feature-length music video that has an actual story to it, all set to Metallica music.
It's pretty cool, though.
Sounds pretty cool.
The kid from Chronicle is really good in it.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. I do want to check it out. Bad Grandpa, which Aaron and I reviewed on episode 116.
So funny.
It is hilarious. Aaron gave it an 8. I gave it a 7. And then lastly, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, which is the sequel to the animated film. They actually got quite a bit of love as far as animated films go. So
pretty decent size hit.
And with that, we'll move on to our Recasting the Classics segment. This is where every other week or so, one of us hoes gives to another hoe a classic movie with the task of recasting the cast members, at least 4 of the cast members, as if the movie were being made today with current actors. Justin was given the film Goonies, and he was to recast Mikey, Brand, Mama Fratelli, and Chunk. Justin?
All right. Earlier we talked about films having characters recasted either with someone of a different nationality or different gender. And in recasting the classics in the past, we have on occasion changed genders for some of our characters. In this one, I decided that I wanted to do that a little bit. The Goonies, aside from the 2 girls who enter into it later, the Goonies themselves is pretty much a little smoky fest. So I don't get a laugh over Little Smoky instead of Sausage because they're kids. Where the fuck is my laugh track? Because that's funny.
Well, it might be a little uncomfortable, more or less.
Whatever. Anyway, the original Goonies is all boys, and I think in a modern setting, it's okay to add in a girl or 2 into that group. So I decided to recast Mikey as Michelle. And so the lead character does become a girl. And I looked at, of course you go online and I delicately search for young actresses because God knows what kind of whistles and alarms.
This is the creepiest recast ever.
Okay, I'm going long. For Michelle, Mikey, I cast
Sofia Vergara. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's not a bad choice. I cast one of her boobs. No. I cast Kiernan Shipka to be Michelle. And for those who don't know her, if you watch Mad Men, she is the daughter of Don Draper.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She's about 15 now, so she's about the right age to play the character. In some ways, she kind of favors a little bit John Astin. And I think she would do a really good job as kind of the leader of these boys. Now, don't kill me, but I actually recast Brand with Josh Hutcherson. I liked what he did in Catching Fire.
Yeah, the most recent one, he was pretty good.
I thought he was pretty good. He's the right age, and it's a delicate balance of someone who is young and athletic, looking without looking like a thug. And I thought Josh Hutcherson kind of captured that, because a lot of these young guys, they look a little thuggy or they're just twiggy. And I thought he was a good falling in the middle kind of guy.
Did you say a little thuggy?
Little thuggy. Now, Chunk was the hardest one to cast, because if you're fat these days, you don't get on TV or the films unless you're just going to be the laughing stock. So it was kind of hard to find a young guy who was kind of portly.
That's true. And that's unfortunate too. That's true.
It is, but I ended up going, and I changed the nationality a little bit. I went with Rico Rodriguez, who's on Modern Family.
Aww.
He's the little round kid on there. He's not as heavy as Chunk was, but I think, if he's a good method actor, he'll down a few extra Twinkies. and put on that weight that's needed for the truffle shuffle.
If he's a good method actor.
Hey, you know what? Good actors, they got to shape themselves to the role.
Oh, man.
Got to start him early. Now, Mama Fratelli.
I got a perfect one for this. I want to see if you get it.
It is so hard to recast this one, and I actually came down to 2 different actresses for it, but I eventually decided that I wanted to recast it with Jessica Lange. What she's been doing in the American Horror Story films or TV shows is amazing, and her range of emotion, she has played crazy and the shades of sanity from that so well that I thought, even though she's not Italian, her craziness would work so well for that character.
Who was your second choice?
Oh gosh, the gym teacher on Glee.
Oh, Jane Lynch?
I like Jane Lynch quite a bit, but I thought Jessica Lange was a better.
You want to know who I thought was perfect?
Who?
Do you care? Margot Martindale. Do you remember the second season of Justified? The mom of the hillbilly family.
Oh, yeah.
Hillbilly mom.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty good.
I'm not taking away from yours. That's just the first person that I thought of. I'm like, wow, she'd be great in that.
If I would have thought of her, I probably would have stopped there, but she didn't spring to mind. I wanted to find that person who could really be, the menacing mom, the crazy mom, the kind of loving mom. And Jessica Lange's got an amazing range.
She should have.
I wish she got more work.
Absolutely.
All right, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to recast Army of Darkness.
Fuck.
Ooh.
What? Bruce Campbell?
I want you to recast
Ass puppet.
Ash.
Yeah.
I want you to recast Sheila, Lord Arthur, and Duke Henry the Red.
Can I recast Bruce Campbell with Bruce Campbell?
Nope. Nope. I wanted to make this tough on you. I don't feel like you've been challenged adequately.
You realize that's somebody I consider iconic, right?
I do.
I didn't mention him because he doesn't need to be mentioned. It's known.
It's a given.
It's given because Ash just is Bruce Campbell.
You are now going to have to recast Ash.
Bitch, does he have a son?
No, not that I know of.
Damn it. All right, challenge accepted. I'll come back in 2 weeks. You'll hear my picks. From the outside in, now we have the final topic, which is we're going to talk a little bit about history. Everybody, it was actually going to be our topic last week, but we had a listener's topic that was even better. So now you get the lesser topic. That's right. History. Everybody and their grandmother seems to have a biopic or biopic these days. I say it both ways because I've heard it both ways. As well as every single event seems to have been captured on film. Think of the inspired by true events title you see above half the movies that come around after September all the way up to December. Movies like Saving Private Ryan take a real event and fictionalize it, while movies like Ray prefer to adhere to the facts, according to them. So I want to know, when you watch a movie that supposedly takes place during true events, how true do you need those events to be?
Unless the truth is so boring or inconsequential that changing it is the better option, stick to the truth. Truth is stranger than fiction. That's a cliche, but it's also rather true. And if you can, stick to the truth. But I'm okay with an event here and there being changed if it makes the film flow better. If a couple of real life people are blended into one, I'm fine with that. As long as you're not changing the inherent truth of the events, that's cool.
I'm not too worried about how true it is or not, as long as it's entertaining. Mm-hmm. I mean, once in a while, if it's something that I'm really passionate about, and then I do some research on it or something, which rarely happens for.
Scott, doing research rarely happens. We know.
I mean, I once in a while I will if it's something that intrigues me, but most of the times I'm there to see the movie. I'm not there watching the History Channel.
Brian,
I agree.
Brian, you're a huge history buff, so I'm curious. What do you think?
I agree that if I go to the theater to watch a movie that's historically based, I don't necessarily. I'm not looking for a complete history lesson. I don't mind some liberties being taken for entertainment purposes, but if it's marketed as, hey, this is what happened, this is what, this is the events that happened and everything. I want it to be as mostly accurate as possible. I want to know that, especially if it's an event that I'm aware of that happened. If, the Kennedy assassination for whatever, let's just use that for example. And all of a sudden some new information has come to light. Some research has been done. All of a sudden we're getting different sides of the story that kind of shines a different light on what we know. Then I want to know that, but I don't want a complete, I guess sticking with JFK, the Oliver Stone movie was basically just his theory on it.
It was everybody's theory. It was like 40 theories.
Right. And it's kind of looked at to the common person as, well, hey, this might be what happened. And I just, I don't know. If I go seeing a movie that I just feel is it's about a subject that I want to know more about, then I feel kind of shit on if I realize that it's not something that's completely accurate, I guess.
That's fair. For the most part, I don't really care. I prefer they just lied to me about most of it, honestly. It's, I can read. So just tell me, hey, here's what we're talking about. But most of these events have been changed to protect the innocent, whatever the hell you want to tell me. But just don't. If you tell me it's inspired by true events, you better be, based on a true story. Inspired by true events, I basically at this point take as I'm going to lie for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. Right. We took the headline of the story.
Yeah.
And exactly. Turned it into an hour and 45-minute movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you tell me it's based on a true story. Now I'm expecting, maybe a little bit exaggerated version of the actual truth.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And then I will watch the History Channel for, Argo, the real story.
Well, the problem with whenever they say inspired by a true story or true events, some a-hole has to run around and tell me how they didn't have palm trees in season that year, or how they saw a 2007 Pontiac when it takes place in 2005, stuff like that. And it just ruins the movie for me. I don't care about this piddly stuff, but as soon as somebody tells me, I can't not notice it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's just not relevant. That kind of crap is never relevant to the story. Who cares? I've never understood that when something takes place. This happens a lot, where a movie takes place in real time. It's based on true events, whatever the case is, and somebody will nitpick it. And of course, that somebody has to throw on the blog. And I'm not talking about Gravity. That's a whole different thing. I mean, actual, this happened. This really happened. Say it took place in the year 2003. Somebody has to point out that something wasn't around at that time. Like so-and-so wasn't president at that time, and they saw his bumper sticker in the background or something. And it's just like, I don't like that kind of minute detail. I don't need that kind of attention to detail. Just freaking make the movie and shut up. I don't need your point of view. Sorry. I'll go on a whole tangent on that. I'm sorry. Have you guys ever felt duped? Like a movie told you it's going to be a true story only to find out those bitches lied to you?
My first one isn't really that I felt like I got duped. I'm pretty certain I didn't get the real story. And that was The Social Network, the Facebook movie. That's one of those that you watch that, and they pretty much told us even before it was released that, things were bent kind of in this movie. That's one of those stories that I really want to know what actually happened and all that.
I do too, actually. Yeah, that's.
So
it was a good movie, though.
It was, and it's in my list of favorites as well. Fantastic movie, very entertaining, really good performance by Jesse Eisenberg, especially. I want to know what happened and all that, and I'm not going to get that from the movie, but I'm also too lazy to go look it all up, and it's probably not, that information is probably not readily available anyway. So I don't know. I had to do some digging to find some others, but apparently the story in The Pursuit of Happiness is not how that actually went down.
It's not?
Apparently.
Son of a bitch, they lied to me too.
I know, that one. And another one I didn't even know was based on a true story was Good Morning Vietnam. That guy was actually a real DJ out in Vietnam. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Oh, that one I knew. Yeah.
But apparently he didn't do comedy bits or anything like that. He was just a flamboyant DJ, basically. He didn't, he like the stuff that Cronauer did in the movie would have got him court-martialed in according to the military.
That makes sense. They basically tailored it to Robin Williams.
Exactly.
His personality.
And that's kind of a bummer to me. Those are the three I had.
Brian?
Yeah, one was Zero Dark 30. Now, I think the majority of it is fairly accurate, but I can't help but be a little bit skeptical whenever you kind of hear reports from certain politicians, both Republican and actually more Democrats, who basically they were saying that it's just terribly inaccurate and misleading. The acting CIA chief actually agreed with them. So you kind of wonder, how much of this is just Hollywood bullshit and then, and what actually happened. I mean, again, it's not a History Channel documentary or Discovery Channel documentary, something like that, but it is Hollywood and it is meant to entertain. But I guess they say that it paints a certain picture that I guess the torturing is what led to the information that led to the killing of Osama bin Laden. Mm-hmm. And apparently that's not exactly right.
I don't know if I would say that, but I get where you're coming from. I don't know if I really got that from that movie. Some people feel that way. So
when you kind of read all their arguments about it, there's a certain amount of sense that it makes. And I guess the Russell Crowe, A Beautiful Mind, I know was kind of based on him, but the guy was just batshit crazy.
He was.
It was turned into a nice story and it was very touching, and all that stuff. But the fucking guy was just nuts. I mean, I know he won a Nobel Prize and stuff, but from what I remember reading from a few years back, I don't think he heard voices, but he didn't necessarily see people. The hallucinations were more auditory, not necessarily visual.
Yeah, I remember parts of that when it came out. But, yep, people were definitely correcting that. They did the same thing with Argo. So, always got to correct shit.
The only film that I ever watched and later found out had a lot of inaccuracies in it that really pissed me off, because most of the time, I agree with Scotty. I don't go into a movie theater expecting to get the History Channel, even they get a lot of shit wrong. I go in for entertainment, but Braveheart really, when I was younger, was an inspiring film. I've got a lot of family from Scotland. That's where the Macumber clan comes from. And when I saw that movie, I was really... What was that, Aaron?
Macumber clan, and all I kept thinking was you saying that with an Irish accent. Sorry.
Irish, Scottish.
Scottish, Irish, whatever. They all sound drunk.
Right. It was really inspiring. And I thought the character of William Wallace, how come I had never heard of this guy before? And I watched the film, I really enjoyed it, and then years later kind of got to looking into it a bit and come to find out there were a ton of things that the movie either got wrong on purpose or for entertainment's sake. I mean, the whole idea of prima noctis, first night, a lot of historians think it's an urban myth. There's really no proof that policy was used, especially up in that region. The Battle of Stirling, which is this huge monumental battle, did not happen like that, where these two forces charge each other on a battlefield. It was done across a bridge, and the Scots just killed the English as they crossed it. The female love interest, Isabella of France, she was 4 years old when all this William Wallace stuff was going on. She never met William Wallace. And to me, I think that romantic aspect, finding out that it was completely made up, was the most disappointing. But lastly, Robert the Bruce never betrayed William Wallace. So that whole thing at the end where he regrets betraying him,
really?
It never fucking happened.
Really?
No.
I did not
Robert
know
the
that.
Bruce initially did not support William Wallace, but eventually he did, and he supported him vocally, publicly, up until the very end. So that wasn't true. So in retrospect, yes, the movie works, and I still love it. But as a piece of historical adaptation, it is really, really inaccurate. But I still love the movie, so I guess it still worked. But it was a little disappointing. Felt duped.
Mine actually is really recent. It's Lee Daniels the Butler, which is why I don't think it should be called Lee Daniels shit. It's just, they went on the defensive and said, "Oh, it's fiction and whatnot." But when Lee Daniels, Forrest Whitaker, and Oprah were all doing the rounds, pimping that movie, it was all about how this was based on a real butler's life, yada yada yada, and almost all of it is fiction. And you watch the movie and you're like, "Wow, that's a cool story." And you look it up and you're like, "That was not true at all." I mean, almost all of it was not true. And granted, work of fiction, but that's how they were pimping it. That, hey, this is a real guy. It's inspiring. Da 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 da. That kind of stuff irritates me. I really have a hard time with that. Braveheart, I didn't know about. Now I'm kind of mad about that. every man dies. Not every man truly lives.
Freedom. They don't know what his last words were. So,
but he wasn't betrayed.
No.
That's a huge part of that movie. I just assumed that had to have been true.
Nope.
Wow. Shame on them. Shame on you, Mel Gibson.
And what's really, this might kill it for you even more. The name Braveheart actually refers to Robert the Bruce,
Really?
not William Wallace.
Ooh,
Mind blown.
In unison.
So go watch that movie now.
Wow. I can tell you The Patriot is another Mel Gibson movie that's historically way off. But But it's still really good to watch. It's a fun movie, but just don't believe any of it. Basically, about 8 minutes of that movie are factual. There was a war.
It was at the beginning when it said what year it started.
Yeah, there was a war. That's the truth. All right. So what were your favorite films based on true events, no matter how they handled the facts? What are your favorites?
Actually, Braveheart is one of them. Oddly enough, it's all war stuff. 300.
Shocker.
My favorite, honestly, probably my one favorite, just military of any. Just it's the ultimate story of, I guess, other than David versus Goliath. It's that underdog versus this overwhelming force, and that's the 300 of Thermopylae, and Black Hawk Down. Absolutely love that movie.
Good call. Yeah, good call.
Anytime it comes on, I just stop whatever I'm flipping channels and I see that on, I instantly just start watching it. And I don't care if it's the last 15 minutes of it. I don't care if it's the full movie. I watch it and I'm so moved every time to this day that I watch it.
Nice.
For me, probably my most favorite, it is based loosely on true events, but it is based on true events nonetheless. It's a movie called Rockstar. It stars Marky Mark, no Funky Bunch in sight. But he plays this wannabe rocker who gets to be. It is fun. The music is fantastic. And for any kind of hair metal fan, I think it's just about a must watch. I don't care what anybody says. Titanic, I wept in the theater. Jack, don't let go. Fucker, let go.
I'm with you. That was tops on my list, so thanks for stealing it.
Cried. Yeah. Apollo 13 is a fantastic film in every respect. I don't think there is a second or a frame or moment in that film that I would want to see changed or taken out. And I'll leave it at that. I want to make sure I leave something for Aaron.
Well, I mentioned Social Network already, but I also had down Remember the Titans.
Oh, good call, man. That's
I really liked that movie.
Yeah.
And it was a Hayden Panettiere was in that one.
Oh, yeah, little girl.
Real young in that one.
She was the daughter.
I'm sorry, I thought Aaron was talking. My bad.
Recently, just a couple months, actually last month, Saving Mr. Banks was really good. If you guys haven't seen that movie, that is worth checking out. And then and you mentioned also Argo. That's one of the few movies I gave a perfect score. I love that movie, whether how accurate it was or not. I don't remember being that on the edge of my seat in a movie like that for a long time, and I knew how it was going to end.
Yeah, that was really well done. Really well done. Saving Private Ryan, to me, is the finest example of using something real that happened, but using that as a backdrop to tell a fictional story. I think whoever had that idea, just genius. I think it works perfect. They did a great job of telling telling a story of World War II without making me feel like, God, again? They really, really did it. JFK, I'm kind of the opposite of you, Brian. I really love JFK. And I think it's fucking ridiculous The movie itself is just ridiculous. But
What if you find out it was back and to the right? Blow your mind.
No, I like the movie.
Okay.
The movie is, as a movie, it is great.
Mm-hmm.
But it also tends, your average person who just goes, oh, hey, I want to learn, I just want to go to a movie. That looks pretty cool. It's got Kevin Costner. Let me go learn what happened at,
Dealey Plaza.
let me find out what really happened.
Yeah, that's true.
That's your average person.
Well, exactly. It was entertaining. It was a movie that I knew was total bullshit. And it's all, they made a movie that made conspiracy theorists happy. That is so hard. Like, yeah, exactly. We knew it. We knew it, Oliver Stone. We knew it. Because they gave every possible theory. So, whatever. I love the movie. One of my all-time favorite, 8 Mile. I love me some 8 Mile. That's the Eminem's basically life story. I lost myself in the music the moment they owned it.
Oh,
they only had one shot.
Oh.
I love that movie. Absolutely loved it. And
Pinky Rabbit.
Yep. And recently, 12 Years a Slave is pretty recent, but how they handle it, just fantastic. And of course, Titanic, which Justin already said, one of my all-time favorite movies. And I don't care if it makes me a wimpy little sap.
I love that.
That movie is fantastic, and she still should have let his ass get on that raft.
Scott backing you up doesn't exactly
Yeah,
help your case.
yeah, it sure doesn't.
They couldn't take turns.
They could have taken turns. I've said that forever. She killed him. That bitch. I'm just
I'm
saying.
surprised you didn't mention The Conjuring.
I didn't even think of The Conjuring.
I had it
actually.
on my list, but I purposefully said, no, I'm not going to say it because he might.
Well, throw it in there. Do you want to mention 8 Mile? Because this opportunity only comes once in a lifetime.
Oh, man.
Yo.
What about Inglourious Bastards?
That's good. Yeah. It's not historically at all factual.
What about Star Wars?
It
It happened a long time ago. It was in a galaxy far, far away, but
What happened?
it happened.
What about John Carter? That happened somewhere else, but it happened.
What about
Where?
the life of Brian?
The life of...
It was your life story. Oh. All right. Well, I'm curious if anybody's got some better options for true life event stories. Be sure to email us. Let's go to Ho Corner. That's becoming kind of a popular segment where these guys get to talk about whatever they want since, they get sick of whatever I give them. So each week, as I've said, I steer the course like a little dictator. But now each one of the hosts gets a chance to have a sounding board, talk about anything that's irking them, maybe making them a little giddy in the movie and TV world. And we get to talk about it and discuss it a little bit. This week
You said little dick.
It's a little bit.
No, you said little dick.
Little dick.
Hater.
Oh, Dick.
Hater.
Wow. You're really going to make this the dirtiest version of our show ever, aren't you? You're determined.
Cock.
But it's two of them.
Scotty, you get to go this week. What is on Scott Clark's mind?
I'm going to get on a little bit of a soapbox this week. One of the things that Aaron, one of the many things that Aaron likes to give me shit for is, that you guys probably don't know, is that I'm somewhat of a cheap ass.
Oh, I thought you were going for the gaming thing. Okay, you completely zigged when I thought you were going to zag. There we go.
No, I'm very much a cheap ass. I don't like to blow money on things that I don't use, and I've recently purged myself of something that I've been wanting to for a long time, and that is I canceled my cable. I pulled the plug and got rid of cable, bought me a Chromecast, plugged that into my TV in my main living room, bought me an HD antenna. I'm able to get all my local channels. HD antenna was like $20, Chromecast was $35. Basically, what I spent on cable TV in 1 month, I was able to have enough services in my house to be able to keep me and my wife pretty much happy. I was still having some growing pains, but she basically gets to watch her network shows that she watches religiously. I get to watch the shows I'm interested in without watching freaking commercials, which drives me crazy. I'm of the mindset that cable TV companies officially suck. I mean, just straight up. I had a friend of the show, tell me that he was working on playing with his on-demand, watching a show on demand, and they've literally removed the ability to rewind a show.
You can't rewind it?
You cannot rewind a show. Now, I got upset when they wouldn't allow you to fast forward through the commercials anymore, which is why I watch stuff on demand.
Right.
But I can kind of understand that one. They have to get their advertising in.
What service does that?
It's a Comcast on demand. I don't know if it's for every show, but he was watching. What's that new show on Sci-Fi? Is it Helix?
Helix.
Yeah.
Helix could not rewind it.
Wow.
Now, what is the point of that? I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense. If anything, you're giving an opportunity to watch commercials a second time, especially if you can't fast forward it. So to me, that tells me that that's nothing but politics governing what I can and can't watch and how I'm going to watch it. Because some company's going to say, well, if I can rewind it here, so-and-so's ads are going to get seen twice and mine aren't.
I understand what you're saying.
So-
I haven't had experience with that part. I've had the fast forward one happen a lot, but
Yeah, fast forward when it gives you a little message at the front. Fast forward function may be disabled. Screw you. That's why I'm watching it on demand. That's why I'm not why I'm not watching the clock, watching it here. So it drives me crazy. If you want to do it, I understand. Get a DVR, do it. Pay extra money to do this. I understand. I'm okay with paying extra money to watch things the way that I want it, but I don't think that the pricing structures are fair to the consumer at this point. Justin talks a lot about iTunes, which I really do like iTunes a lot. I love the idea of being able to rent or purchase movies on there, but I think the pricing sucks. For what I can purchase or what I can rent a movie, recently watched Raise this week, which you talked about and reviewed. I watched that last night. It was $8 to rent that movie. For that much, I can get.
But that's one that's in the theaters. I mean, that's
fair enough.
Okay.
But even anything else, I have not found anything that was under $4 to rent. Even old when you guys had me watch what was the
movie you bitched about having to rent?
Yeah, it was
Weird Science or something. I don't remember what it was. It was one.
Yeah,
of
it
those.
was Weird Science.
Okay,
$4 to rent Weird Science, a freaking 25-year-old movie, cost me $4 to rent. Granted, I understand there's a convenience that I'm not driving down to the video store to do that. When can we get to the point where the a la carte thing in cable is a reality? I don't want to pay for channels that I'm not watching. I don't want to pay to be advertised to. I want to pay to pick and choose what shows I want to watch and pay a little bit more and watch the way that I want to watch it. Right now, me personally, I'm okay watching my watching my Netflix because I obviously have a lot of shows to catch up on. I'm okay paying $1.50 to watch a Blu-ray from Redbox every now and then for a movie that I really need to see. I put a lot of money into the theater, obviously. I don't want to pay cable companies to advertise to me, and I don't want to pay cable companies to put all this other crap on cable that I'm not going to watch. I will never turn on any of those channels that play like Toddlers and Tiaras and that kind of thing. Something needs to be changed, and it needs to happen very quickly. But I encourage you guys, it hurts for a little bit, but try pulling the plug. It's saving me like $60 a month. It's seriously, it's on.
What do you guys think? Do you think they're ever going to have the a la carte like he's wanting?
No.
Because it's just no money.
Because there are lower standard. There are certain channels that very few people probably watch, but they still get advertisement money that the cable companies want. And I think if you got rid of all the channels that you didn't want to see, I think that there would be some common channels that a lot of people no longer got. There's too much money for them to lose by getting rid of.
Those funds can be reallocated, as far as I'm concerned. Those funds.
You really hate cable, don't you?
Then you need to go get a job with the cable companies and show them what they're doing wrong. I mean, I agree. I hate paying the kind of money that I pay for DirecTV with Showtime because Krista's fallen in love with Homeland. And I would love to pull the plug on that son of a bitch because outside of casual background viewing, I really don't watch it. Well, okay, I do have to say there are two shows that I have to watch when they air. And so I do watch my TV at that time, but I could get rabbit ear HD antenna and still be able to watch those shows. Unfortunately, my wife loves to just watch random shit. And the idea of having to pick up a remote and pick Netflix or pick up, Amazon Prime and then find a show and then put it on is for her a bridge too far. So I'm kind of locked into it because the woman I love is locked into it.
Yeah, I mean, I realize I'm addicted. I mean, I hate to say it. I've got Dish Network, and I've got pretty much 90% of the movie channels with it. it's a disgusting bill to pay every month. That being said, there's a lot of shows that I stumble upon that I may watch for a few episodes to try out. I have been lucky and stumbled across ones that I've fallen in love with, like Game of Thrones, Newsroom, other just off the wall shit. Like there's a show on Discovery Channel. I don't even know what channel it's on, but it's like this mystery about this. It's Oak Island, which is some weird place up in Canada that's got all this mystery and intrigue surrounding it, and it's followed it for a couple 100 years.
Huh.
I like reality shows. Axemen is pretty good. The Swamp Loggers stuff, but there's I've got a wide and weird range of tastes, and
When do you
it
go
satisfies
outside? When do you go outside, Brian? It sounds like you're inside all day just watching TV.
Well,
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
got a DVR, and I spend enough time outside as it is.
I think it would be.
Besides, I live down here on the fucking sun,
Yeah, that's true.
and
Touche.
so
I think it would be really interesting to see how many people would actually pay to watch anything with a Kardashian in it, or any of
no, I mean I would pay not to watch them,
that's kind of my point. I mean,
but
we're
somehow
all
they
paying
are still.
for it.
Yeah, you're right, but there's enough people watching them, and they are. It's amazing that this whole family has gotten popular because some chick made a sex tape.
That's America.
That's how they got popular.
Oh, but she's
She
got such
banged
a
somebody on camera. Oh,
Nice,
and
she's got
she's-
such a nice body, though.
I mean, she does. I'm
Yeah,
not
my
denying
wife.
that.
My wife's part of the problem. God love her. She watches Honey Boo Boo. She likes Colleagues and Tiaras. Those kinds of shows. The Shaws of, what is it, Beverly Hills or
Sunset.
something?
Shaws of
Yeah,
Sunset.
Sunset. She likes. And, she, of course, knows that it's all bullshit fiction for the most part. But there's just a part of her that finds them entertaining. And so she watches them. And to get those same shows, via some kind of an on-demand service, I almost would rather just her watch it off of satellite and feel like I'm not directly paying just for that show, rather than see on my iTunes receipt Shaws of Sunset or whatever it's called.
I really wish they could do an a la carte, man, because there are literally like 4 channels, maybe 5 that I watch total.
Yeah, you get 'em
outside
on-
of network channels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really all I watch, and there's maybe 5 shows I really watch.
Once in a while, you go through the grid and you see a movie that you haven't seen in a while that's on some random channel, but that's not worth $75 a month. I'm sorry.
I'll be honest, I never watch movies on TV. If I flip through and they pop on, I will probably either find them on Netflix or in my library, or I'll just say, skip it. Because as soon as a commercial comes, I'm done. I don't want to watch it anymore.
And that's the funny thing is I don't think a lot of people realize how many channels you actually can get with an HD antenna without having to pay for cable. I think a lot of people just assume that you have to have a cable service in order to watch television. I think
So
that's
what do you get? 6 versus 3?
no. I did
what?
some research on it. Some of the HD antennas get upwards of 100 channels.
Really?
Come on.
I
Well, all right. How many of those are English speaking?
I didn't research that far. I was researching to find the network
Some
channels.
people like their telenovelas.
No, I mean, look, I'm not knocking that, but also, I mean,
What?
but I mean, a lot of that probably depends on where you live too.
Right.
Now, I'm sure you probably got a lot larger selection of channels to pick from with your HD antenna than I do down here.
I got
And
like 4 or 5.
What really chaps my ass, though, is when my wife is watching a movie on just some random channel that we have on fucking Blu-ray.
Yep.
I'm like, you wouldn't have edits, you wouldn't have commercials. Why are you not? Because I feel more pressured when I watch a DVD that I actually have to watch it this way. It's in the background, and I'm okay with that. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I don't understand. My wife does that too. It drives me nuts.
I'm like, oh.
The movie's literally, it's 8 feet from you, and it'll be about 40 minutes shorter, and you'll hear cuss words, which automatically improves it.
Maybe that's why she.
Oh, yeah,
watching
because,
TV.
she's so godly.
And all I know is that most of my TV watching is through Netflix.
Yep, me too.
I love it. It's got almost everything that I want, and what it doesn't have, either Amazon Prime will have it or iTunes will have it. And it is still cheaper to buy one show on, say, iTunes. Go and buy one show season a month, then or 2-3 of them is about the cost of a satellite service.
It was funny when I called to actually cancel the service over the phone. The guy tried to talk me out of it, like they're trained to do. Well, sir, you know that it's actually less expensive if you do it this way. I said, really? I'm pretty sure that $60 is less than 120 because I'm not. I actually said that to the guy. I'm like,
I wasn't a math major, but
I bet not paying for it is cheaper than paying for
Sure,
it.
if I'm going to get my cable service from somewhere else, yes, I understand the bundling. That's going to be fake. I would rather pay $60 for one service than pay $120 for two services that I'm only going to use one of.
Man,
Word.
he's got some logic. All right, kids, let us know what you think about the big cable debate of 2014. That was Scott's turn, and boy, did he go on a tirade. I don't think I've ever heard Scott talk that long about anything.
I can feel the blood boiling from here.
Especially about a subject that didn't involve controllers.
Exactly. That's even the best part. He talked at least 5 minutes nonstop, and it wasn't about video games. I am impressed.
Xbox did not come up.
Of course, now it will. You know why I didn't get cable? That's
service.
why he stopped cable, so he could afford more Xbox.
Yeah.
Now I could buy a game. All right, guys. Well, like I said, we are recording early, so emails we're not going to have. We will make sure to bring them up next week on next week's show, so we're not going to forget anybody or the Facebook likes. All that stuff will come up next week, as well as stay through the credits for outtakes. Go to thehollywoodoutsiders.com. We will have some reviews of some of the newer releases that we haven't been able to review yet. They'll be up on the website, so check those out, thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Tweet us on H_outsider, facebook.com/The Hollywood Outsider. Leave us a message or text us at 818-814-6426. And our email, as always, feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. We're also on iTunes, your Stitcher Radio app, or our RSS feed. This is going to do it for this episode of The Hollywood Outsider, guys. So I want to thank Justin McCumber,
I'm so tired.
Brian Williams,
What?
and Scotty Clark.
I still have to write 27 progress reports
Tonight? Do you really?
Yes.
Oh, God. Well, you sure playing shitty, didn't you? Well, remember, guys, the next time you go to a theater and you saved all that money from all that cable you just canceled, buy popcorn. Do you really have to do 27 progress reports?
Yeah.
Why didn't you do it yesterday?
Because
You were
I
playing
was playing
basketball game.
Xbox.
By the way, Justin, when you were recasting, that was so creepy.
What?
You're
Why?
like, I was trying to think of some young girls that I could...
He said
Wow.
something about, like, what's her name that was in Mad Men? She's 15. She's about in the right price range or something.
Fucking perverts.
Big Mama's House 2 was on. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, God, why does that little girl look familiar? It was Chloe Grace Moretz at
Get out.
8 years old or something like that.
And
And
you got
her,
a boner that popped right up.
no, but I did
Ripping
whatever.
jeans.
Did you feel dirty as hell seeing that Chloe Moretz was like 8?
No, but I didn't feel
at
dirty
all.
about that at all. But I just kept trying to. Obviously, you guys didn't hear from me, and that was because I kept trying to. I was like, I got to notify the guys about this, but there's no way I can come up. I can't think of a way to do that without
Sounded like a
sounding
big
bad.
giant pervert.
Oh my God! Chloe Grace Moretz is on TV right now at 8 years old. You should see her.
Mine's
I'm
gonna.
looking forward to hearing your ideas.
Mine's a global hit already. Hasn't even been written yet. It's global.
And it's a phenomenon.
Uh-huh.
Phenomenon.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well, I mean, obviously, shooting bitches is too far.
He doesn't even sound really convinced of that.
This is the Hollywood Outsider, weekly movie and TV. I already fucked it up.
Right on time.
Do you know if you use a right-handed hammer and you're left-handed, the nail won't go in? True story.
It won't. Hey, do you know that
It'll go
Like,
up higher.
Did you know that Japanese girls' vaginas are sideways?
They're slanted.
Can I use that in the outtakes?
I would be offended if you didn't.